Hi, this is Kelly from COS. In this episode, Florence reflects on her mother, tough calls made in a hard season, calls that were not obviously then, and the influence that lingers. Now, let's watch.
In my mind, that was like my life journey, my trajectory in my life. That for me to live is Christ, to die is gain. That was Philippians 1:21. Even when I was in church, we go to Sunday school, we kind of read the Bible story, but we didn't have a relationship. I never had a relationship. I don't know the Bible well. It was just bits and pieces here and there. But it was that encounter that I started to thirst, I started to read, I started to meditate on God's word, and his word became life for me. His word became lifeline for me. And when anxiety was overwhelmed within me, it was going into the word, feeding on his word, meditating on his word. And every time it was his word that feed me, grow me, give me the confidence, give me the assurance, give me the healing. So step by step, little by little, God, he always says step by step, little by little, he brought me, healed me. So with that, I started my journey. And I yearned for his word. And God also brought me to this Bible study class where God put me there for the next 12 years to study Bible class and set me a firm foundation on his word. But in between where I was going for my Bible class, my dad kind of passed away, and I did share in my post about what happened to my father. After my dad passed away, I have to take care of my mom. And it was also a very difficult time because my mom went into depression. And that was also the time where single-handedly I have to handle my 3 children. My husband also lost each other a couple of times, and I have to handle my mom. And it wasn't easy. My mom, when he was old, he get even more depressed. He get even more bitter. And we grew up from young. He was always swearing, he was always scolding us, always cursing us. So many a times when my dad passed away, we had get meats for her, but none of my brothers or sisters, we know how to handle my mom. And it took an emotional toll on me as well. Without God, I don't know how I could handle. There's many times I need to weekends shift over here to handle my mom, and then weekdays shift back home. We changed for so many maids. We changed like 10 maids. In Singapore, when you change over 10 maids, we couldn't change any more maids. But it was so difficult for my mother because she was hard, she was bitter, she was also very rejected herself. And how to handle a mom like that? If without God's love and help, I think probably I would be depressed myself. And true enough, many times I was depressed. But it was during those seasons after I encountered God that I will go to God and ask God for help how to handle my mother. So can you imagine, we changed 10 maids. We even have to write in to the Ministry of Labor, to appeal so that we could employ more maids for my mother. Back then, my brother also wouldn't know how to handle her. And but it was the grace of God that helped us a lot, helped me myself how to handle my mom bit by bit. So in between, I'll bring my mom over to my house. And I also remember there was once where I was out and my mom was alone with the maid. When I came back, she was, even before I reached home, she was cursing and swearing me inside the door. It's like, I was so stressed myself. I just dropped my things and I went to the room and cried. And that was my mother. Her love was swearing, cursing, scolding. And I was like, hiding in the room, hiding in the toilet and cry, saying, God, why is my mom like that? Why is my mom so hard on us? As I was crying, God was telling me, because she loves you. I said, love? I cried even more. Why would a loving mom do this to you? When you tried your way out so hard to love her, and she was always crying, scolding you, wanting her way. It was so tough. And but God somehow taught me that because my mom was so bitter herself, she didn't have love. And her way of love, and when she was anxious, because she was anxious that, oh, where do I put my son? It was so late already, still not home. She was anxious. And when she's out of anxiety, her anxiety will to scold you. Also, God taught me that's a way of expressing her love. And when God taught me that she loved me in that way, I humbled myself. And I went out and said sorry to my mother. Can you imagine if it's not God, I'll be so angry, so bitter myself. Try always to take care of you, and then the way you react and scold me, I would have been so angry and keep a distance. But when God told me about that, my mom loved me, and that's the way of love, I went out and said sorry to my mom that I make you worry. That's how amazing God is. If it's not God, how would I know? And when I say sorry to my mom, I can see my mom composure change. And that was also healing to my mother. She need that kind of love as well. And that's God how taught me about love, how taught me how to handle, especially family who are emotionally difficult to handle. Because my brother, none of them could handle my mother. And they'll push it to me. So with that, I toggle in between to take care of my mom through her depression, through later on when she go into dementia. Slowly when she go into dementia, my sister actually take over my mom. And with that, we are thankful as well, because when my mom was dementia, it was so much easier for us to handle her. She becomes so childlike, but we are so thankful also for my mom, because back then when she was in depression, when she was mentally not well, it was very difficult for the entire family. There's friends who also told us, you should send her for deliverance. And I also pray, God, at her age, at the stage of mind, do we need to send her for deliverance? If you want us to send her for deliverance, you send people to us, not we go and look for it. But what God told us was to love her. It was love that will bring healing to her. And slowly, I do what I could. My sister do what she could. And God slowly brought my mom into dementia, which was a blessing as well, that she could be able to start to forget certain of her past, which is not so torturing for her. And it make it so much easier for us to love her, because back then it was very tough for her to even bring her out somewhere, because my mom is such a strong woman. And me and my sister, we used to say, why is my mom so hard? And I also ask God, why is my mom so hard? So hard to love, so hard to please, so hard to bring her anywhere. She will want her way all the time. And God also ever said, she was hard because of y'all. She was hard because she had to bring out the 12 of y'all, single-handedly. She worked all kinds of jobs, be a man, be a woman. So my mom, from the sea to the land, all kinds of jobs. She worked even jobs as a man. She has to go to the plantation. She has to go to the shipyard. She even have to pick up smoking, because she was in the plantation where there's a lot of mosquitoes, and even a shipyard where there was more mosquitoes. She had to smoke, to rid off all those mosquitoes. So that was my mom. And she has to be so hard so that she can survive, and so that we could survive. So when God taught me about my mom, wow, it melted my heart that my mom, I understand and start to understand where my mom is, and start to love her in the way God wants us to love her. And thank God for those years when my mom became dementia, as I shared, my sister took over. She became loving. She became so childlike that it was such a late years of enjoyment for us to take good care of her. So looking back, I thank God for my mom, that she left a lot of good memories for us. Though she was such a hard woman, so she was so bitter, so she was so difficult to please. But all of us in our family could feel her love for us. It's like you are you, hun. We love her, but yet there's times she drive us crazy. But we know that she loved us, because even in her old age, when she was dementia, she was bedridden for the last 2 years before she passed off. My brothers, my sisters, none of us will not visit her, and my brothers will visit her even a few times a week, though she was lying down, couldn't even talk. And that was the love that all my family could sense, for the love that she has for my entire family, for amount of hard work she has done for our family. She was long-suffering. She was loving, she was kind, she was compassionate, and she was actually very generous. She'll always give out of her means, even though she don't have. People will borrow from her, even though she don't have much, she will give. Even my brother-in-law was sick, she take care of himself when she was a stroke patient. With the little she had, she continued to give. I remember I have a neighbor that, that was parents passed away. She was an orphan, and how my mom would take care of her. So these are memories of my mom that even though she might not be rich and might not be educated, she left behind a legacy of such love and patience and kindness, endurance, compassionate to us as a family, and the memories that I have, and the memories she passed on to me even as a daughter. So I thank God for my mom.
A mother's choices ripple through a lifetime. In the next episode, Florence steps into a new chapter with Cops. I will see you in the next episode.